Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're diving into Al-Gini's book, The Importance of Being Lazy. We're going to unpack our culture's obsession with work and make the case for something pretty radical, doing less.
So the whole idea behind Gianni's book is actually pretty simple, but it's also, really profound for our time. He argues that no matter how much you might love your job, we all desperately need leisure, play, and real vacations. This isn't a luxury, he says. It's an absolute necessity.
All right, let's kick things off with a question that I think really gets to the core of this whole thing. How many times have you answered the question, how are you, with something like, oh, just so busy? Lissany points out that we often say this with a weird kind of pride, almost like being completely wiped out is a badge of honor. And this quote, man, it just hits the nail on the head, right? We've turned being busy into a status symbol. Somehow, this became our blueprint for a successful life. But Janani is here to ask us to question that entire foundation.
Okay, so let's really dig into this cultural thing we've got going on. Our collective addiction to being busy. Why are we so completely fixated on work?
What Ginny's getting at is that we're hooked on what work promises us. It promises power, money, influence, and respect. So we just keep working, out of habit, out of desire, and sometimes maybe because we just don't know what else to do with our time. Okay, but here's where things get really, really interesting. Are we actually working as much as we feel like we are? Let's take a look at the massive gap between our perception of work and the actual reality. You're not going to believe this, but some major research suggests that for all our complaining about being busy, we might have more free time than ever. The researchers argued that we're often confusing the frantic pace of our lives with the actual amount of time we're spending on the clock. And check this out. This is what they found when they actually had people keep detailed time diaries instead of just asking them. The results were pretty stunning. Men were overstating their work week by nearly 6 hours and women by over 8 hours. That's a huge gap between what we think we're doing and what we're actually doing. But, at the end of the day, the raw numbers don't really matter, do they? It's the feeling that counts. The constant rushing, the stress, the sense of being completely overworked, that has become our reality, no matter what a stopwatch says. So let's talk about the cost. What's the price we pay for this relentless pace, this everyday-a-thon, as Gimni calls it? Because believe me, it takes a very real and very serious toll on us.
I mean, even our time off isn't really time off, is it? Think about our vacations. So often there are these crazy, jam-packed schedules, a blitzkrieg of organized movement. We're so worried about efficiency that we come home needing a vacation from our vacation. We've just forgotten how to do nothing. And listen, this isn't just about feeling tired. The health consequences are serious and they're undeniable. We're talking about multiple long-term studies that draw a straight line from not taking real downtime to severe health problems, like a higher risk of heart attack and even death. And just to give you an idea of the scale we're talking about, that first study, researchers tracked over 12,000 men for 14 years. The data is crystal clear. Taking a vacation could, quite literally, save your life. In fact, one journalist, Joe Robinson, even coined a term for this. He says America suffers from vacation deficit disorder. We're basically chronically starved of the one thing that could be saving us. And isn't this the most powerful paradox? We all understand that you need to take a machine offline for maintenance to keep it from breaking down. So why on earth can't we apply that exact same logic to ourselves? Okay, so if we're suffering from this vacation deficit disorder, what's the cure? Well, Janie offers a pretty powerful prescription, and it all starts with completely reclaiming the idea of leisure. So the very first step is just a mental shift. We have to stop thinking of leisure as a sin or as just being lazy. True leisure is the time we use for discovery, for personal growth, for connection, and for that simple, totally essential ingredient, fun. Jitsanai reminds us to look at the true masters of this, children. For kids, play isn't something they get to do after the real work is finished. For them, play is the work. It's how they learn. It's how they test reality. It's how they become who they are. Ultimately, the solution really boils down to flipping this one simple but incredibly powerful switch in our philosophy. It forces us to ask, is my life serving my job or is my job serving my life? And the answer to that question changes absolutely everything.
Taking time away, truly getting away, it's not about running from our lives. It's about finding them again. It lets us step outside of all our roles and reconnect with a person who exists beyond the job title. And this is really the heart of it all. Giannini's radical idea isn't just take more holidays. It's about a conscious, intentional practice of unbusyness. It's in those quiet spaces, in the moments of play, in true leisure, that we actually find the room to be more fully human. And that leaves us with one final thought to take with you. Forget about adding more to your to-do list. The real challenge, in a world that is constantly celebrating more, is this. What can you intentionally choose to do less of?